Welcome everyone, this is Zozo StockWatch, and this is your StockWatch list for Friday, November 3rd. Before we get into the StockWatch list, I like to give you some news and a rundown of the market, so let's go ahead and get into that. Right now, we had the big Apple earnings, and we'll get into that more in a moment. The Dow Jones futures are up 13. It's about 9 minutes after 7 my time. S&P futures up 1, and the NASDAQ futures up about 18 points for the night. Currently, for gold, basically flat. WTI trading 54.88 in the overnight session, up about 6.2%. Let's go ahead and get right into some of the news that came out. As you know, Apple had earnings after the bell, and I'll show you that chart in a moment. Let's go ahead and scroll back to the beginning. So we had Starbucks had earnings after the bell, and some other companies, and we'll take a look at those. And right about here. Okay, we'll start with Starbucks. All right, so Starbucks had earnings, and earnings were in line, revenue miss. The stock trailed off and sold off, bounced off of 51, now trading around 52.85 on Starbucks. Next up, we have ATVI, Active Blizzard, right? Activision Blizzard, and that stock dropped but then recovered nicely, and stock trading up at the highs in the after hours. And HLF had earnings tonight after the bell, and that stock gapped down after the bell. Earnings per share were in line, revenue beat for HLF. Loco didn't fare as well. Loco straight down, no bounce in LOCO, El Pollo Loco. That restaurant stock not doing too well in the after hours tonight. JCOM, earnings per share and revenue beat, JCOM. And that stock not doing too much in the after hour. CARA, C-A-R-A, had earnings after the bell, not doing too much after the bell. Next up, we had VECO. And we'll see if that was doing anything, not doing too much in the after hours. And see, Starbucks we talked about. CC had earnings per share and revenue beat, and that stock sold off on CC. Apple came out at 4:30, and Apple beat on earnings, AAPL. And here's the chart of Apple. We popped all the way up to about 174. All right, and then we pulled back all the way down to about, we'll call it 169, and then we recovered off of that. So Apple basically, kind of at the highs here, around that 173 area on Apple after the bell. So Apple sold 46.7 million iPhones, 10.3 million iPads, and 5.4 million Macs last quarter. Let's see, and then here's their guidance that they're providing for the next quarter. And nice push up in Apple, then it dropped. STMP had earnings after the bell, and STMP sold off, was down about, I think, $28 a share or so, and then recovered a little bit on that bounce. DRNA had earnings after the bell. This is a little biotech stock, and that stock was selling off a little bit. And STMP was down at $1.32 a share. Some news coming out from North Korea. So we'll see, how that's going to fare with the market. So far, it's not affecting it too much. And then we have some earnings before the Friday open tomorrow. Let's see if there's any big names. XRAY. And let's see if there's any other big names coming out for tomorrow. Not really in the morning, nothing major. So most of the big names, Priceline comes out on Monday. Priceline will be coming out on Monday. This came out after the bell. Sprint and T-Mobile, Wall Street Journal reports signs of merger life. T-Mobile and Sprint restart talks in effort to salvage the merger deal. So Sprint popping in the after hours, and TMUS, T-Mobile, also popping in the after hours. So nice move from both of those in the after hours. Let's go ahead and get into the calendar. I showed you the earnings already, so we can go right into Friday, the economic information. The big thing tomorrow is the employment situation, the non-farm payrolls, 8:30 a.m. tomorrow. The good thing about that is we get it over with at 8:30. And then we have the trading day ahead. We do have some Fed speak around 12:15. And 10 o'clock, we have factory orders, ISM, non-manufacturing at 10 o'clock also. And then the Baker Hughes rig count at 1 p.m. Eastern time on Friday, November 3rd. So that's some of the economic information. For stocks that were moving today, we had OCRX, IO is an oil name, XBIO, Juno, ZAG, AIO, TACT, WSTL, and AutoNation, AN, SPWR earnings, and AN was earnings also. NMIH, for the losing side, we had TCAP, Teva continues to move down, Randgold, GOLD, HBI, SYMC, CLLS, Few, and Newell just got totally creamed today, down almost 11%, 26%, 27% for the day on NWL, down almost $11 on Newell Rubbermaid. So that stock took a hit. Over there in the call activity, call options activity, HOG, DRNA, UA, Under Armour, and ETP, and STWD, ENDP, FCX, LITE, and Zooms for your put side for the call. For the put activity, unusual put activity. As far as your earnings calls for Friday, we'll go ahead and take a look at that in a moment. Let's see if it's loading. All right, sorry about that. So for Friday, November 3rd, your conference calls starting at 8 o'clock. Not sure why it keeps going back to Thursday there, but must be something with their site. That's from Earnings Cast. So Friday, you have a bunch of earnings calls coming out. Just be aware of that. All right, sorry for that glitch. There's Friday again now. All right, so Friday's back. So here's your conference calls. You go to Earnings Cast and you can see the different conference calls for Friday coming up. All right, so let's go ahead and get into some of the markets and then the watch list. Don't forget, I'll be doing a webinar next Tuesday. It's going to be the 7th of November, and it will start at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So webinar on swing trading, and I'll have this link down in the description box. Going to be Tuesday, November 7th at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Come join me, and we'll be talking some swing trading, and like to see you there. Thank you so much. So here we are again with the SPY, and the SPY is still holding above the 10 SMA. Buyers came in again. Dip buyers show up again, and they reversed this candle here, and we're back closing right back above the 5 EMA, the 10 SMA, and also the other fast-moving averages and the 20 SMA on the SPY. QQQ, which is obviously going to be up tomorrow with Apple. We held the 5 EMA on the Qs. IWM, just holding a serve here, basically holding above this 148, 147, 75 area, kind of just this back and forth going on right now. Neither bulls nor bears can make headway. But we sit underneath the 5 and underneath the 10 SMA on the IWM. The IWC, kind of the same thing. We're down here at that $93 level. You have to think if we break this 93, then we'll probably, test this 50 SMA here, and that's currently under the fast-moving averages also. If we take a look at the IBB, getting a little bit ugly here, but battling here to hold this 150 SMA around that. Let's see, the 150 SMA is around 311.61. So a lot of battling going on here, trying to hold. Looks kind of like a bear flag a little bit. So I would think if this breaks, we obviously may test this 200 SMA down here, and that current price on the 200 SMA is around 306 on the IBB. So we'll keep an eye on that. And then there's some names in there like Amgen, not looking so well. Trying to hold that 200 SMA, GILD, also rolling over here just above the 150 SMA. Celgene, I'm sure you're aware of it, is kind of bear flagging here under the 5 EMA and not looking so hot right now on Celgene, BIIB. Also moving down below the 50 SMA here on Biogen. So the biotechs, the big names in biotechs are not looking so great. But if we go ahead and look at the XBI, this is holding above 82, and Juno had a very big day today. Juno had a nice day. Let me check and see what Blue did. Blue popped today also. So the XBI is holding up. It's the IBB that's currently not doing well, but the XBI is holding up, trying to get back over the 50 SMA. So, and that's, like I said, some names like Juno and Blue are pushing that up. Let's check out SRPT. That one pushing up. So nice chart there on SRPT. And I guess another one would be IONS. Check that one out. That one not doing too well on IONS. So it looks like Juno, Blue, and SRPT kind of doing well in the XBI segment of the market. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll take a look at some of the bigger names real fast. We'll look at NVIDIA holding up here, holding the 5 EMA on NVIDIA. SMH also holding above the 5 EMA on SMH. Intel, making new highs here on Intel, and Microsoft also, holding above the 5 EMA after their big gap up in earnings on Microsoft. All right, so let's go ahead and get right into the watch list now. First one up is ALQA, coming up off the bottom, holding above the 50 SMA on ALQA. ARLZ, also nice pop here, 2.7 million. Needs to break out over this 200 SMA on ARLZ, so we'll see if it wants to do that. BAC, Bank America. There's going to be a few banks on here. I like some of these charts. Bank America trying to get back over this 28 spot. BANC, Bank of California, also kind of reversing here off of the 20 SMA. So if it can get back over maybe this 2150 spot, so maybe this Friday or next week, keep an eye on that. Ballard Power had a big pop, 7.9 million shares, so I'm thinking maybe Plug will want to follow along with Ballard Power, kind of basing under this $2.95, $3 area on Plug. Let me get rid of some of these lines here so you can see it better. So we're kind of basing under this 295 area, and then next stop maybe 3. The other one I'm looking at also is Fuel Cell, and starting to try to break out here. We're holding above, let's see, the low today was 210, so we're above that 210 spot. The high of the name was 230. We closed at 224. This would be more of a swing trade. If it can take out that 230 spot, it's not a fast mover on FCEL. GLYC, maybe for an intraday trade. If it can take out the highs today, which were 1222, so figure 1225. On GLYC. Can be very spready, though. That's the only thing. Goldman Sachs, if you like the bigger names, turning back up, holding above the fast-moving averages. High today was 247.74, so watch for a break of that number. That might happen next week. HBAN, below the moving averages, but holding this like 1350, 1375 area. If it can get back over the 14 area here, maybe that one turns back up. HIMX, we talked about this on yesterday's video, and nice push up. See if it can break out over 11 bucks on HIMX. 6.2 million shares. IMMU. After this big pullback, another pullback, it's been holding the 10 area on IMMU and trying to turn back up, so we'll have that one on watch. KNX, trucking company, consolidating here, so maybe if this one can get back over like 41.75 or so, maybe we push up through that 42. Mankind, still kind of hanging around this 50 SMA. For me, if it got through the 10 SMA at around that 347, 350 area on Mankind. MTBC, big move today. This was on yesterday's video. Personally, I couldn't find a way in, so moved up nicely without me. So I'm looking for some kind of like red to green maybe on this name, on that. And then Netflix. Trying to break out over this 200 spot, holding the 10, holding the 20, even with all that bad news, House of Cards, etc. It's still holding up very well and maybe trying to get back over, that 200 spot. ONCS popped a little bit today, 4 million shares. It sure didn't trade like it had 4 million shares in it because we were watching this in the afternoon. It would be like one on a 5-minute chart, one stick up, one stick down type of thing. But it did grind up finally and break 125. So we'll see if there's anything left in the tank. Plug we talked about, PYDS. We traded this a couple of times in the room today and did very nicely on PYDS. There's a video on my YouTube channel if you want to watch that. And nice volume in it, so I'll have that on watch again. RIOT, nice recovery off the lows here on RIOT. This is one of those blockchain names. So we'll keep an eye on this one for tomorrow, see if it wants to maybe continue up through this $8 area on RIOT. Sprint we talked about after hours popping, so I'll keep that one on watch. SPWR had the earnings and popped. Nice volume came into the name, so kind of watching this 850 spot to break on that. We'll look at some of the other solars real fast. First Solar, nice recovery from that red candle on First Solar, and CSIQ powering up higher on CSIQ, so very nice move there. So maybe SPWR wants to join because it seems like it's a little bit of a laggard. JKS. This chart doesn't look so bad either. If it can get up over, the highs from the other day, which was around 2750. So watch that 2750 on JKS and JASO. This would have to get over maybe the $8 area or a little bit, we could say like 790 or so, and then maybe you get that $8 break on JASO. As far as some of the smaller solars, RGSE, doesn't look so good. SOL, not looking good. Run, not doing much of anything. And SUNW, not doing too much. And TERP, not doing so much. So right now it's kind of JKS, JASO, CSIQ powering up. First Solar, and SPWR maybe wants to play catch up, so keep your eye on that. TMUS, with the big pop in the after hours, so we'll have this one on watch to see if that one wants to go do a continuation. WFT, Weatherford International Oil. If it ever gets back over the 50 SMA, might be interesting on that name. WPRT. This one turning back up, watching this break of 375 spot here, 1.1 million shares in that name. Just wanted to show you the XLF coming up to this 27 area. Looks like it wants to break out. That's why I have a lot of banks on watch. So the other one is Yuma, is an oil company, and 2.4 million shares. Broke up over that 108, the 50 SMA, which was at 110. So we'll see if it can get back over, 110, 111 on Yuma. And lastly is another bank, Zion Bank. You see it had these few red candles but reversed. So watching it for that 47 break on Zion. All right, that's the watch list. Everybody trade safely tomorrow. It's Friday. And come check out my service, zozostockwatch.com. And definitely please come to the webinar. It's going to be on swing trading. It's November 7th, which is a Tuesday at 5:30 Eastern Time. And I would love to have you there. All right, and I'll put the sign up link in the description box. All right, thank you very much for listening. Have a great evening all.